G'day viewers, it's Michael here again and welcome back to Single Racer. And in the last video I mentioned that I wasn't that familiar with the modern version of Hockenheim. I'd sort of driven in Assetto Corsa, a much older version that was quite different to the one I tried in the last video. So I'm glad to say that the historic versions of Hockenheim have now been added to Automobilista 2 DLC. And of course it's my understanding that this is free DLC because of the whole COVID situation, and they offered it to those people because of the delays of everything that's been going on. So hopefully you should have already had that update, if not very, very soon. And so now let's head on over to the classic Hockenheim. This is the 1977 version, the earliest version that AMS2 is offering, and I'll drive it in my favourite car, but this time it's the Gen 2 version of the Formula Classic, the one with the big wings on the back. So just a slight variation of what I usually like to drive. But just before we go over, one bit of housekeeping for those people that own the beta, because I'm curious if any of you have picked up on this. But so just to explain, I got the download that includes these classic versions of Hockenheim. Then I got the separate download in the full version of AMS2, and then I got another update with the beta version. But for some reason, I don't know if this is a bug within itself, but have a look. Seriously, this is the version that I've got with the full version, but the beta version now has what is an older number, which is weird given that I got this update after or at the same time as the new version, so it should really be ahead. So I don't know if that's a bug in itself, so I'm curious if any other beta owner has that number, which shouldn't correspond. It's a bit weird. So anyway, it's time to go racing, and so now let's check out this Hockenheim Classic 1977 version, which for those that haven't tried it still seems to have a little bug or two, and I'll actually show that in the external camera replay. It doesn't seem quite finalised yet, which I totally understand given that they're so brand new and still part of this free DLC, so it still needs some developing. So let's check it out now. Okay folks, so as we get set, ready to go, and oh, it's gone green already, I missed the start. See, there you go. I'm so used to Assetto Corsa, which seems to give you much more time because I like to do my signature, 3 revs of the engine, but I always get caught out in Automobilista too. It just seems much faster, but luckily I've caught up with them here, and so let's settle down now. And this guy seems to be stuck on the grass, so we'll stay clear of him. So we'll just give him a wide berth there, and luckily he's back on. I can see in the mirror behind me. And one thing that's different here, is he comes flying up on the inside, the cheeky little thing. So we'll duck up the inside or the outside too, depending on which part of the corner it is. But yeah, and there's a big crash. Careful! I don't want to rear-end him there, but that gained me 2 spots there, so thanks to the kindness of those two combatants who didn't want to give each other room by the looks of it. So now what I was going to say was, I'm familiar with this corner here in the old version, but in Assetto Corsa I must have maybe a 67 version or an older version, because this version has 2 little S-bends that my version doesn't have. This whole thing is just one big long straight, so I just got to be careful here because I'm not used to it. I'll just take it easy here, plus I don't want to rear end him, of course, so a bit of wheel spin there. Yeah, but this is a 1977 version, so it's clear that my version must be earlier, and they've put these 2 little S-bends on each section of the straight here, because as we come up to this corner here, and I'll just be a little bit careful here, this is what I'm used to in my version, in the Assetto Corsa version. But yeah, it's added those 2 little S sections since then, so it's really interesting. And there's a 1988 version if you haven't checked out the updates, as I take a shortcut across the curbs there. So we just be a little bit careful through here, and now we go flying down the start finish line here. So let me see if I can carry a bit more speed through this section. I probably don't need to I do need to ease off. Okay, well that didn't work out as I planned, so but let's try and catch up a few cars in front here. But yeah, I got to be a little bit wary here because these can catch me out. So this, in the Assetto Corsa version, is just one long straight. And as you see here, luckily they've got some nice big signs to say, he's off too. Gee, I get nervous when they come onto the track like that. I don't want them to ram into me. But the one thing I noticed straight away is the AI were really good. I read this in the update is, I don't know if you noticed at the start, but they split up really well. So that's a really good feature that AMS2 have added in, as I know about this curve here. So I've got a bit more distance, so I'll try and get on the throttle. This is squeezing the toothpaste here, where you just ease onto the throttle, not give it too much to spin you around. But here's the second little S-bit that's not in my version, so I'll just be a little bit careful. Yeah, just try and duck him. Oh no, see, he doesn't want to give way, so there's a wheel spin there. And clearly having the AI, this is why I don't like the AI in open wheeler cars too high, because what happens is they don't give way and they lock up and your wheels lock up together, and then you're stuck with each other as I... Whoa, Mick, do not talk while you're driving. See, this is why I prefer to drive or record my driving in a replay, because when I do this live, I muck it up. So, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this in. I'm not going to press reset, because I think it's a good lesson to say, for as many times as you might finish in the top 5 or whatever, there's so many times that you crash out. So I'm just going to leave it in. I'm clearly last here now, so I'm just going to leave it in as we pass the start-finish line here. But yeah, it's a good lesson. This is why a lot of people don't like talking while they drive. It just slows you down too much. So what I'm going to do now is actually, yep, we got the cool down lap. So this is a new feature too. But I don't know if it's a new feature. I've got to try it on road cars or a couple of the, you know, four-door cars, I meant to see if that's included, because it seems to be a new feature. So what I'm going to do is drive around the track, because this has so many more trees than the modern version of Hockenheim, and just show you there. We got the cameraman on the gantry, if that's the right word, the raised gantry there. And I'll just show you. I'll drive straight through here because I love this, hitting the foam bollards through there. So I deliberately took that shortcut. Yeah, but I'll just sort of look around, and there's another cameraman again, and we'll take a close look. We'll try and get a bit closer on this car and have a look at him as we go past here. Beautiful, beautiful layout, but it doesn't seem to be quite finished, as you might have seen in the external cameras replay of this track. The cameras don't seem to be quite finished, or they're in the wrong spots or something, but clearly these have been added to me in a very, very kind way by Risa, because they were meant to be paid DLC. As, oh gee, 2 cars going off on the cool down lap. Now that's a no-no. Tis, that's a bad thing. I've actually seen it in Bathurst in the warm-up race. One of the drivers crashed on the warm-up race, and he was extremely, not the warm-up race, the warm-up lap, and he was so upset. On one of the Bathurst races, yeah, I forget his name, but he crashed on the warm-up lap, if you can believe it. But yeah, let's take a close look there at the exhaust pipe and the amazing detail on these cars. They look fantastic. But I just want to see what it's like now going into the pits here, to see if they come out, because I've never actually done it in a cool down lap. So I'm curious to see if these are happen in the road cars too, or they're just meant for these classic cars. But I assume the cool down lap is a new feature, which of course you can just press the escape key, you don't have to do it. But I just wanted to see what it's like and take a look, as I love that the timing board there, just looks fantastic. Okay, so the pits take, oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's driven me straight out again. Okay, well that was weird. It's driven me straight out again. So, okay, so what appears to have happened is I must have to map a key to say go into the pit. So I think clearly I haven't mapped the key. All right, so we'll leave it there. So this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. See you later, and remember to map your key for the pits. Okay, see ya.